Good morning, everybody. This morning we start a brand new series on Eric Clapton's From the Cradle record. It will be a two-parter. The first part will be the album review, and then the second part, which will be posted Friday, will be the live album and documentary, um, Nothing But the Blues, which was taken from the Fillmore run of shows during the From the Cradle tour. How we're going to do this is that since the um, we're going to go ahead and combine the CD and the DVD of Nothing But the Blues into one review. I know typically we do sometimes do separate reviews for the CD and DVD, but for this instance I decided to combine them. But on to the record. This was Eric's first mostly blues record that he ever released. Um, he had always dabbled. He had always done blues songs in the past, but he had never released a album of just blues. And the album Me and Mr. Johnson would follow in 2004, which we will be um, covering at a later date. Like I said, this was Eric's first mostly blues record, and it was released on September 13th of 1994, and it was also recorded in 94, and it was produced by musician and record producer Russ Titleman. Um, the song song "Motherless Child" is really the only non-blues and really the only non-blues song on the record, and it is not to be confused with the song, the old blues song, Motherless Child, from the 30s or the 40s. Or Eric did a song that was, I believe, released on 461 Ocean Boulevard called Motherless Child back in the 70s, and it's not the same one either. Um, but I have several favorites on this record. Among them, um, Motherless Child, of course, which is probably one of my all-time favorites from the record. But as far as blues songs go, one of my absolute favorites from the record is the old song "It Hurts Me Too," which has been covered by countless people, among them the Grateful Dead and other people. But and Blues Before Sunrise, a Leroy Carr song called "How Long," blues. Um, a Freddie King song I also like is on there. I'm Tore Down, and of course the Muddy Waters classic "Hoochie Coochie Man." Several of the tunes from the Cradle, most notably "Hoochie Coochie Man," have become set list staples in Eric's shows for years. So much so Um, so much so, I've become sort of tired of seeing him do Hoochie Coochie Man, but that's the only criticism of the record that I have. And, or that's the only criticism that I have. Um, and, um, and he also does, his old favorite, Driftin' Blues, which I don't think he had recorded a studio version of it up to 1994. He had recorded it several times live, but I don't think he had recorded it a studio version of it. And one song that he had recorded, which became a hit from Journeyman. There's a there's a there's a version of Before You Accuse Me, which was more done in the Bo Diddley style, and I always thought that would have fit right in on From the Cradle, and but he had recorded Before You Accuse Me in kind of a blues shuffle on Journeyman in 1989, but I had heard a version of Before You Accuse Me on a album of outtakes that I got my hands on. But, and I always thought that it would go right at home on From the Cradle. And some of the other songs on here are the old classic Reconsider Baby, not to be confused with, I don't think the Elvis version is the same version. It may be. I don't know, but like I said, I like Blues Before Sunrise and Third Degree. Oh, and one of my other favorites on here is 5 Long Years. I always liked that. And he will do a lot of these songs on Nothing But the Blues, and I can't wait to tell you about that, because that is one of my favorite Eric Clapton concert DVDs, because it has a lot of these songs. It has a lot of these songs, and a lot of these songs, with the exception of Hoochie Coochie Man and perhaps 5 Long Years, he would never play them out. In other words, he just did them once or twice for that, tour, and then they were never heard from again, which is a shame. Which with songs like Motherless Child and How Long, I wish he would pull those out again on tour, and songs like now he has done I'm Tore Down recently, because I think he did it on his last run of shows, and so I can't really say that he hadn't played stuff from On the Cradle since, but he doesn't play much. He just sticks to Hoochie Coochie Man and all that. But I wish he would play more from those, like Third Degree, and Blues Before Sunrise, which I was really surprised. Well, I'll wait till Friday. Uh, which I, but anyway. Um, um, let's see. So, like I said, coming up Friday, we we conclude the series with our look at the Blues Before, Nothing But the Blues documentary, which was directed by Martin Scorsese. And so that's Friday.